Welcome to In Hindsight. I'm your host, Day, where we showcase local New Mexico. And today we have our co-hosts,
Michaela,
Vivek, and Paul.
and we talk about and showcase local New Mexico, hot topics and trends, and also, Are You the Ahole? So I'm actually not fairly new to New Mexico, but I've only been here for 3 years. And I think I have things to do in the summer. I think like nicer weather is like really nice. But I think I don't know really what to do like in the winter. And like, and then like some of you guys have been here longer, some of you guys are native. Like, what do you guys usually do to like kind of like if somebody's visiting here or somebody's new? Like, what is something that you will, advise them to go or like tell them where to hang out? That
During the winter?
Yes, I mean, I usually go to like inside stuff like the 80s night at the Sisters bar downtown, and I love that because I get to dress up like the 80s, and then they have really, really good bar food. So like the bar food is really, really good. Like the truffle fries are really, really good, and their tacos are really good. But like I tend to like going to like inside venues. So what about you guys?
Sister Bar is great. I love Sister Bar. I like going just because of their video games. I didn't know they had an 80s night.
Yeah.
But I love going to play their video games. So I'll just go there, with my friends and get a beer and, start playing each other in one of the games. But there's a lot of things to do. Obviously, on every Sunday at the rail yards, you can go to the rail yards market.
I've actually never been, and a lot of people have like told me to like visit that.
You have to, because ever since, so when I was growing up, because I'm from New Mexico, I am from New Mexico. This is where I've been my whole life. So when I was growing up, there was nothing at the rail yards. It was just broken glass. You could literally just get onto the rail yards and just walk wherever you wanted, stepping over broken glass and random, screws and stuff on the floor. But then they cleaned it up. They made it a lot nicer. And now it's actually a professional farmer's market every Sunday. And it's beautiful, the turnout that they have. And it's all completely local people. Even one of my friends, she sells her plants.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
have you guys been to the rail yards?
I actually have not.
Yeah, so we need to go. Have you been?
So rail yards is not the same as sawmill, right?
Yes.
It's not the same as sawmill.
Yeah, sawmill is
sawmill
more.
is
Yeah, sawmill is different.
I've been to sawmill. I've not been to rail yards.
Oh,
And
okay.
Like you, I'm also pretty new here. I moved here in 2019.
Yeah.
But the thing that I have been noticing recently is that there is a growing vegetarian and vegan food scene here. Like there are some restaurants that I absolutely love. They're relatively new, and they're vegan food or vegetarian food.
So what are they? Now you gotta tell us. You can just tell us, oh, this place is good. And then
So two I want to talk about.
Okay.
There's one called Itality. So it's like Vitality, but without the V.
Itality. I haven't heard of it. Okay.
This is owned by a Pueblo woman, and it's Pueblo food, but it's vegetarian.
Wow.
And it's amazing. It's worth checking out.
Itality. Okay.
Itality.
They probably have a lot of beans in their food.
So I've been there a couple of times. There's something like, it's like a crepe, is what I remember. Next time I have to pay more attention. I didn't know I was going to talk about it.
Is it like an Indian taco or something? I know it's just like an Indian taco is like also
something like that, yeah. Yeah, probably. The other one, which I've been to more often than Itality, is called Vegos, Vegos.
VEG. Yeah, I've never heard of any of these.
So these guys, they started out as a pop-up, right? So they would just have a tent and they would sell, right? And they became popular, and then they started doing food truck. The food truck became popular, and now they have a spot. So they got rid of the food truck. Now they have a spot.
I have heard of this place.
You heard of this place?
Yeah.
It's like Carlisle and I want to say Montgomery, around that area.
Okay.
It's really cool. It's good. So I took a friend of mine to that place. Like we met for lunch, and my friend is not into vegan food. Okay, so she's like really not into vegan food, and this was the first time she was eating vegan food, and she had this preconceived notion that it's going to taste like fake meat. It's not going to like it.
Yeah.
And she orders her thing, and she takes her first bite. Her jaw drops. She's like, I can't believe it. This is not meat. I can't believe it. Right? So it's, so I like that scene. I think there's a lot more of these things coming.
I can't believe I've never heard about that.
And
it's crazy because, living in New Mexico, you realize that there are so many restaurants, especially with food. New Mexico, I've realized after traveling to other places, I realized that New Mexico cares about our food a lot more than in other places. Have you noticed? Like people
we
just
do have like a distinctive food.
Besides
menu.
your Christmas sauce. Like the first time I heard, like, what is a Christmas sauce?
I hear that from everyone who's like not from here. They're like, what does red or green mean? Like when you go order food, they're like red or green, and they're like, red or green what?
Yeah, the
Or
first time-
Christmas, like
yeah.
it's not Christmas.
Yeah, I moved in February, and they're just like, "Well, do you like the Christmas sauce?" And I'm like, "Why would I like the Christmas sauce? I've never had
What is the Christmas sauce? No, but
so funny.
my friends who are visiting from out of town, I tell them, look, you go to any New Mexican place, they'll ask you red or green. This is what it means, and you can also respond with Christmas. Right? So that's a valid answer. Right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always go with green. Green is my absolute
Green's your favorite?
I love
Okay.
it. Yeah, I love. So I don't know if you guys know, but they go both are the exact same plant.
Mm?
It's not any different. It's just different
Yeah.
ripeness.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the green is just earlier,
Yeah.
before it gets dried out.
Yeah.
But no, I love the like the sweetness that it gives almost that the green has
Mm.
a little bit more than the red chili. But no, I mean I love all of it.
That's why when I tell people, it's like, bell peppers are the same. It's just
It's-
they're all different colors from all the ripeness. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like not all different color plants? And I'm like, no, it's just like they pick them like when they're ripe at green, and then eventually they turn red, and then they turn yellow, and then they take like one or the other. They're like, wait, it's the same thing? And I'm like, yeah, you just pick them on the ripeness of them.
And you
So
pay
yeah.
different prices for them at the
Yeah.
grocery store.
You do. But what about you, Michaela? What are you like doing around like winter in New Mexico?
I feel like a really lively scene, like year round. I have like two places that are pretty popular. Dirty Bourbon is like a big one
I've
on
heard of
Thursdays.
it, yeah.
It's not like a weekend thing, but a lot of like young scenes go out there, but anyone can really go. So it's a really lively place.
Thursday for sure.
Yeah,
that's-
Thursday's kind of
those are when
like
it gets down.
the
Yeah.
funner night. And then,
and everybody will dance with you there, like, cause I don't know how to dance. I'm a terrible dancer.
and it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, and you can go up to like any girl and be like, "Hey, can I dance with you?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, for sure."
Yeah, it's like a really fun scene. And then, have you guys heard of Canvas Artistry?
Canvas,
No,
I don't
I
I
think
haven't.
only went when it was in Nob Hill, but then they moved.
Oh, yeah, they
to,
moved it to
First.
Central and First. Yeah. So that is like a really cool place too for, I guess, for like night clubbing, but that's a really cool place too. Like really lively on weekends.
Oh,
It's one of
okay.
the more livelier places at the moment.
I was going to say the other place I like going is Skatomania. Or, no,
Oh, yeah,
what
yeah.
is
Oh,
it
yeah.
called?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
Skatomania.
Skatomania, yeah.
Yeah.
It's up on the east side.
It's like Juan Tabo and the 40 or
Mhm,
around
40,
that.
yeah.
around
And they
that
do
time.
a lot of like theme nights, like 80s nights
They do
and
theme
90s
nights,
nights.
they
But the
have
thing is just like
music.
it's really hard for me on the weekdays because like my husband is very introverted, so like dragging him is like half of the battle. And then like it's already hard on like on a weekend.
can do that.
And if I tell him like it's on a weekday where he has to work the next day, then like the battle
That's
is
it.
lost kind of
Yeah.
thing,
I can relate.
See, I will go out all night right before having to work. I'm like, it's okay, because you gotta live life. You gotta have fun. And
Dude, that's the age, okay?
Yeah, I know, it is. Because I always tell people, it's just like, listen, I was a New Yorker, okay? Like, I would literally go to work, like, work till 1 o'clock in the morning, meet my friends, and then, like we'll be up. Like, I will come home at, like, 7 or 8 in the morning from, like, karaoke or whatever. Like, it's like, you do karaoke and then we eat after, because everything is open
Yeah.
24/7. So like my husband barely see me really because we also have like a different schedule. He was like a morning person, I was a night person. Also my schedule is nighttime. So like I was just like, yeah. It's like now it's like I don't even drink. I just stay up late and like I'm hungover the next day. It's like I get punished for like literally doing nothing. Like half of the things that I was doing when I was 20s and my 30s. This is kind of sad, Because it is like there's that joke. It's just like I remember when we were living in New York. And even in my 20s when I was living in Denver, where like everybody's just like, oh, you guys want to get dinner at like 8 or 9, So like by the time we go to like the clubs or the bars, it'll be like more packed. We're not like the only ones there. And then now I'm like, wait, you want to have dinner at 7:30? That's too late. Okay, it has to be in between 5:30 and 7. Okay, anything after that, I'm out for the count.
You're like, I'm in bed by 8.
Yeah, exactly.
you know, this is tied to the circadian rhythm, right? So when you're younger, you don't have to pay attention to it, right? But as you grow older, your body punishes you for not following the circadian rhythm. You need to wake up at certain times and sleep at certain times. Right? So it's tied to that.
Oh,
it's
no.
this age.
So
Okay, it's
enjoy
coming
it.
for you.
So yeah.
It is
so
coming
yeah.
for you too.
Just,
I'm
you
gonna
yeah, you
regret
guys
it.
just enjoy it.
I'm
You
gonna
have
regret it
enough
so
time.
much in the future.
Yeah.
My sleep schedule is crazy. I literally like if I feel like I need to work, then I will not go to sleep. If I feel like I have something that I need to do, then I will just stay up all night. It doesn't matter. I'll stay up till like 6 or 7 just working on stuff. And oh my gosh, my sleep schedule is so messed up. Also, like I'll sleep for like 4 hours. Last night is what I did.
He's like, that's not lasting forever.
No, it probably won't.
It's not. It's not.
Like I said,
man.
it's like enjoy that ride till you can. Well, the thing also is like I don't know if you heard about it. It's like you know how like when on our time, you're either like a morning person or like a night person, but now there's like you're a wolf or a bear. Like there's like
A night owl.
Yeah, that kind of like there's like these different things where like you like waking up in the early and then like you're dead by 2 in the afternoon. It's like it's like you're like they're like you have this
Dead by
coworker that like you don't email after 2 because it's just like dangerous. And they always leave at the office at like 4. So they have like these different categories now where like, cause like I've always been a night owl. And it's really, really hard because my husband literally wakes up at like 5:30 in the morning.
That's me.
Yeah.
So that's me also.
So like our schedule has always been like kind of erratic, and it's like getting more and more erratic because I'm just kind of like him. Where like if I need to do something, so like I have days in the week where I have to do content because I don't want to do it every day.
Yeah.
So like I would like designate like Wednesday and Friday. Like today, it's just like I already have my makeup on. Like I'm gonna take a little bit of a nap, make sure I don't ruin my makeup, and then I'm just gonna. I have all my content stuff in my dining room. All my clothes are hanging, all my makeup and all my crafts and stuff. And then sometimes I'm doing that till like 6 in the morning, and then my husband's like getting out of the shower and like, are you just going to bed? And I'm just like, I gotta do my stuff today. I don't want to do it tomorrow or 2 days from now. I want to just like post for the next 7 days.
Oh yeah, my ex would hate it because she used to work early in the morning downtown. She was like with paralegals, so obviously they have normal business hours.
Yeah.
And I would do the exact same thing. I'd be up all night, and she'd be like, "I just heard you like the whole night, just being loud and doing it." Because I'm not a quiet worker.
The good
Let's
thing
be
about it is
clear.
like,
Slamming stuff around.
Oh yeah,
doors,
I'll be yelling and all.
Snacky.
and you're the loudest.
Crumbly.
I'll start
You're the
playing with my
loudest-
dog. I'm like, ah.
You're the loudest at night for some reason.
Living room.
because everything else is quiet, right?
Right.
So
I
even
just-
a small.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
feel like I'm
smallest
like,
noise.
this drawer is not as squeaky at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, why are you squeaky right now?
now.
1:30 in
She's
the
like, it's
morning?
not that annoying normally, but it's really annoying right now.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about it is like we have like a 2-story house. So I'm downstairs to do my content stuff, and my husband is like, snoring upstairs. So it's like he doesn't get, because I'm pretty loud.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty loud person. My voice carries. So it's just like, I definitely like, it's like my mom would like get out of her bedroom because she sleeps downstairs. We have a bedroom downstairs. And she'll be like, "You're still awake? It's 4:30 in the morning." And I'm just like, yeah, man, I gotta finish my content.
That's a long time to stay up,
It's a
though.
lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've heard that. You're
Yeah.
still up.
Yeah. She's like, she like sneaks her, like she'll open her door. But I was joking to my husband, I'm like, I think once like I get really, really pregnant, I'm gonna have to kick my mom upstairs because we have 3 bedrooms upstairs and 1 bedroom downstairs. So she has a bedroom downstairs, like adjacent to a bathroom, so it's perfect. So I told my husband, I'm like, I'm kicking my mom out. I don't want to go.
Where is she? Where is she? Is she hearing this?
Oh, she knows. We've had this conversation already. Yeah.
She's like, we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
They told her already, Mom, you were getting kicked out. Yeah, at least you're kicking her out of one room into another room.
Yeah, it's not like I'm
You're
kicking
not,
it.
You're not like just like hit the
bye.
streets.
Out, yeah.
Goodbye.
It's not out.
Yeah. Oh,
Relocating.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've heard in the news because I do have TikTok. I have TikTok because like I have nephews and goddaughters now. They have their own TikTok, so I have to subscribe to their stuff. So like this is a new thing in Japan. It's called sushi terrorism because I don't know if you guys are aware. Not everybody is aware of like the sushi conveyor belts. Because some people, they've never had it before. So what it is like they have this like mostly in Japan, it's really popular in bigger cities. They have these little conveyor belts where they put like the plates of sushi and then you actually pick the sushi plates that you want depending. Because like each plate is like a different price. So like a green will be like $1 or like a red will be like $5. And you pick like the things that you like, obviously. If you like all the eel, of course you're going to pick all the eels.
Yes.
So like I guess like there's been happening where people would like take out the sushi plate, either lick it, put things on it, and then put it back in the conveyor belt. and it's called,
So you mean at like restaurants when they have the food going around the conveyor
yeah,
belt
with the
thing?
conveyor belt.
So it's,
Yeah.
it's the customers doing it.
It's the customers doing it.
Ooh.
So,
Shouldn't that be isn't that illegal? I feel like that's illegal.
but it's one of those things where like you were talking to me about it, how like the ice cream
The
thing.
ice cream, like people
Yeah.
are going into stores or like gas stations, opening ice creams and like licking them or
Really?
taking bites out of them and like recording it.
And then putting it back in the
And
freezer
then, yeah.
Just for fun.
for pranks or TikTok.
Like, ha, I got
For
you.
TikTok.
I was like,
I think it's for views. Yeah,
Yeah,
views on
yeah.
TikTok or on
Yeah.
other
All right.
platforms.
So this is, I'm trying to understand the psychology of the people who are doing this.
I don't know if you can unless you're like one of those people.
I don't think it is. It's
No, it's
psychology.
like-
I think it's just them trying to have fun, and they think like this is gonna get me views,
Yeah.
Exactly.
and because
So, Like, I
fame.
mean, so for getting the views and whatever the views gets them, like whether it's money from advertising or whatever.
But the
they
thing
are
is,
using
I don't-
it-
I don't
obviously
think they
with
think
that,
that
it
far.
becomes a trend.
Yeah.
I
They just
I
wanna
think
be
you're
viral.
You're thinking very logically about
Yeah.
it. That's
Okay.
the problem.
Yeah,
You
like
gotta
kids.
think
It's
stupid.
like
You
kids
gotta-
doing it. It's like
Yeah.
for views.
Yeah,
or
don't think about it like so
trends.
logically. Think,
People also
think
are
about it
doing
like
it for
they,
trends.
they
For
just want
trends.
they just want everyone to be like, oh, I know that guy. Like that's just for trends. It's like do you remember when everybody was like eating Tide Pods or like they were? I saw a guy that smoked a Tide Pod. He got a bong. Heated up the bong, and just same way that you smoke wax out of it, he just dumped a Tide Pod into it and then just smoked it. And it's like, I don't think he was thinking, I'm going to get a lot of advertisements off of this. You know what I mean? I think he was just like, I'm going to do something that's going to get me a lot of views. And this is
and
gonna
then
be,
I'm gonna go viral, and that's what.
No,
But you were
but
saying,
the thing is, if they're doing it to themselves, that's one category. But if they're doing something that is going
Hurting
to be
others.
hurting others, that's
I don't
a
think that's
problem.
particularly thought about.
yeah.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
But
You
that's
don't
the
think what?
problem. It's just like when he said like, isn't it illegal? But if you think about it, it's just like, what kind of laws are they technically breaking? Because there's like most of our laws are very concrete, right? Like if you don't stop on a stop sign or if you run through a red light,
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting. But the problem is just like this person is eating one ice cream and putting it in like like a tub of all the like depending on where the ice cream is, it could be at least 10 of them. You don't know which one it is. Right, and then also, I think it's what it is. It's just like it's disgusting because like that person can have COVID or the flu
Anything.
or
Sick.
something,
Anything,
and then they're
yeah.
just like licking that thing, putting
Yeah.
it back, and then I'm just like this normal person going to the store thinking I can get peanut butter ice cream today.
or potentially
You know?
a person that has a disease already that can
Yeah.
be susceptible to what they're giving them.
Exactly.
Like me personally,
exactly.
when I shop, I just get anything from the back row.
Yes.
That's what my
I-
husband
Yes, I
does.
do that
Front row.
too. I do that too.
Pet peeve for grocery shopping for me. I never
like-
get anything from the
Oh,
front
yeah.
row of the grocery store
I-
for being like things
everything.
like that.
For everything. I even went to Home Depot the other day and I went to the back of the row. I was like, nope, because you guys probably have all the broken stuff in the front.
Yeah. No, my husband does the same because like we'll go to like Costco, and I'll grab like whatever's in
Which
the
is-
front,
yeah.
and then he'll like put it back and then grab the ones in the back of it, and I'm just like, oh my god, why did I even grab it? I should have just let you grab the thing. But I am also like a little bit like about that kind of stuff. Like if I see items or ice cream that doesn't have like like that
It's
lid,
not sealed properly.
it's
yeah.
not like it doesn't or like because some ice cream doesn't come with that plastic seal.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm not taking a chance
Yeah.
because like I don't know where you've been. Because I feel like that kind of trend is like aligned to like those like. Have you noticed how like even in TikTok and like social media, the people like stop you on the street, like the street.
Oh,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That thing is so annoying because I'm just going about my day, and now you're asking me like, do you want to keep this dollar or give it to someone else? And I'm like,
I've never had anybody do that out here.
It's
I've,
more-
I've never even seen anybody do that out here.
Is this like
It's-
an Albuquerque thing? I don't think
It's
Albuquerque-
definitely
yeah,
not an
no,
Albuquerque
it's a
thing. I feel
bigger
like-
city thing. So
It's a
like,
bigger city thing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, people out here I think might get like shot with some of the pranks that they do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know
so
if
like
it's a good idea
it's
out
big
here.
in like college towns because they have like students constantly walking around
Yeah.
and stuff, and also big cities. So like whenever I visit New York, because I still have friends in New York and I go there fairly often, like literally like a block or two, like you can spot them a mile away because they're just standing there waiting,
their-
like
with their-
ready to pounce.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm just gonna, because they always target the tourist people.
You're like, don't make eye contact.
Yeah, most local people know them like right away. Like they can
they
they
go
can
across the
spot
street.
them.
Of course.
Yeah.
They
They're
like
like
avoid
going
them.
blocks.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 minutes early
Yeah.
to avoid these people.
They start running. They're like, oh, what are you doing?
Exactly.
They start
Not
going
this
to the
day,
gym.
YouTuber.
And then it's just like I feel like it's also like it's a very interesting too because like it's also like a culture thing because like in Japan, you know, they're like very very polite. They don't
Oh,
like
yes.
going around the norm,
Yeah.
and I think that's why they're calling like sushi terrorism. I mean, it is a little bit extreme. We don't call people that are eating ice cream like ice cream terrorism. You know, they're just disgusting people. You know what I mean? But I think like because of the culture, like you know, they do feel like you know it's very disrespectful.
It is.
That you know, like I'm just here eating my sushi, trying to eat my favorite green plate, and then somebody might have licked it already, and I'm like, how disgusting.
You
You
know
know?
what's funny? In there, because it's so out of the norm, it's like it's sushi terrorism, right? If it happened here, they would be like, it's just kids being kids.
Kids, yeah.
Because that's just what people do out here all the time.
No, so I think the other angle also is in some cultures you don't share food. Right? I mean, like
Right.
in some cultures it's okay, like you can eat out of the same tub, but in some cultures it's like I come from India, and some parts of India, some sections, they're very strict about it. Like if there's a pot which is shared on the table, and you're eating with your right hand, you have to use your left hand to put the stuff on your
Because there's a
plate.
significant
I've heard
value
that.
to your hands, right?
It's I mean like different people have different why they do it, but it's a thing, right? So I don't know specifically about Japan, but maybe
I heard the reason is because getting a little more dirty about it. They said that you're supposed to wipe with one hand and eat with the other. It's like that's what I heard.
no,
and I don't know if that's true.
It's not.
That's
It's
just
not
what-
that.
He's
no,
like,
not
no.
no, it's
Not for our
Hold
culture.
on.
no, because
That's what I heard about India. That's literally what I heard
It's
about.
like, don't advertise us like that.
Don't say that.
no, because the wipe thing is like a paper towel thing is here. Like in India, you don't have paper towels, or for the most part, right?
Right.
You do water. But I think so. The other part is this is getting a
You do
little.
what? Sorry.
You mean like the ones that shoot up? They shoot
Yeah,
water
the
up?
bite-
The
Like,
bidet.
you guys are
The
behind.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah, yeah.
no, this is a little more esoteric, right? So in India, there's a big concept about karma, right? So, and what they say is that if you share food, then you share karma. It's like a way of sharing karma. And
Oh.
I don't know the whole depths of it, but I think in some parts of India, that's that's the top of their mind. That okay,
It's a culture, yeah.
it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it is in Japan, and maybe because maybe in Japan it's the same way that they don't want to share food. And
No, I think in like, because I have like a couple of Japanese friends when I was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they do share food to some extent,
Okay.
right? But it's more like, but like, you know how like, you know, I think it's more predominantly for women than it is for men.
Mm.
Like, we'll go out and like, we like, oh my God, the appetizer is really amazing. Why don't we like get like 10 and like we can all share it
Yeah.
kind of thing?
Yeah.
You know, but like, with like mostly with like my Japanese friends, they're like share maybe like an appetizer, but like the fact that like if you even ask them like, oh, your food looks so good, can I give it a try? It's like disrespectful because it's like, you know, you're
Yeah.
saying that like, you know, oh, my food looks good, but your food also looks good, so I want to try it. And
Yeah.
it's more like, why don't you go get your own food? Why didn't you like get it in the first place? You know what I mean?
I honestly don't like sharing my food. I am not a sharer of food. I had a roommate one time who we ordered a pizza together, and I got my slice off the pizza. You know, I put it on my plate. He looks at it. He's like, ooh, and he takes the pepperoni. He took just the pepperoni, just the pepperoni off my pizza, and eats it. And I looked at him and I was like, man, you can have it. And he was like, what? Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you'd get mad. I was like, dude, you just stuck your finger in my pizza. You think I'm going to eat it? Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm a germaphobe. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I do not want. Like,
Well, the thing is, like in my culture, we also share food, and because like there is like an Asian tradition of like using your hands, and it's like there's each culture in Asia has a different,
flavor,
but it's
yeah.
like the main representation of why we use our hands to eat is because we're closer to like our nature and from our ancestors. Because I don't know how Indian is, but like for like Southeast Asia where I am, because I'm Filipino, is that, you know, there's a certain like umami in a way when you eat with your hands, because you either
Yes.
warm the food or like,
Yes.
I know this kind of sounds disgusting, but like, you know, your hands kind of get like a little bit sweaty and salty, so like it changes the little bit of the dynamic of the food kind of thing. So like when you're like holding it with your hands, it's like a more like personal level to like eating your food.
Yes.
You know, it's like from like the nature to you, and like using like a part of your body to actually ingest that, you know, that part of the nature. So like I've always like shared food, but I'm never disrespectful and just be like, pepperoni, you know,
Yeah.
like because
Yeah.
my husband is like he's like very very nice on like because I'm a chef, so I obviously love food.
Really?
But yeah, so like so also
Now
like
you know we gotta have you cook for us. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you can just say that passively to a bunch of people that like are gonna
I
want
just
to
want you
eat.
guys to know that I'm a chef.
yeah. So,
Anyways, you know.
yeah. So yeah, so like literally when we go out to eat, like if I have like two things that I really want, like he would like it's just like, oh, what? Because sometimes like I know what he's trying to do, but like I know sometimes he really like that one thing, so I don't give in. But like most of the time, he'll be like, well, what are like the things that you like? So like he'll make me pick what I want, and then if I like the other one, he'll pick it for him. Yeah, because he does because like I'm that kind of person where like I only eat this specific pho, and like I have like 7 different Vietnamese places, but I only eat pho here. I only eat pad thai
like that
here.
too.
Yeah, so it's just
Yeah,
and also I think it's because like so like I don't limit, like I have like more places to go. You know, I don't because I after COVID a lot of the restaurants had closed. And when, I don't know if you heard of this place. It's called Magokoro. They do Japanese curry, and I'm like devastated. Devastated. So like, and my husband felt so guilty because we were supposed to go before we went to our Hawaii trip. So because I was just like, I don't know, because they've been closing a lot of days lately because they can't find people to hire.
Help us another one.
Yeah. So I was just like, I don't know. I think they're about to close. And the man was like, no, they'll be okay. And then they closed, and it felt so good. I'm like, when you wanted to go.
She's
But
like, I should have went like every day.
yeah,
I was gonna say,
exactly.
like back to the thing about using your hands to eat. There are a few different things, right? So one is there is this whole like in India the traditional Indian medicine is called Ayurveda, and there they say like the digestion of the food begins with when you start to look at it. So
Really?
the looking is important. Then when you hold it in your hands, there are like the digestion process already starts. Like the saliva starts getting produced even before the food enters your mouth. And with the fork and stuff, it's like it's not the same. Like the body is not in touch with
It's
the
not.
food.
Yeah, it's not, exactly. Like there's not like there's like a transition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like with the fork and the spoon. It's like it's not like automatic when
Yeah.
you're holding something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes
exactly.
sense. Yeah.
So it's more of a connection to your food.
It's a
before
connection to
you
the
eat.
food. These days, like mindful eating has become such a big thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. This is also very interesting. It's a little also on a side tangent, but in many cultures around the world, people sit and pray before they eat. Right? So if you think about why do they do that, it's because when you sit and pray, right, it's not important what you're saying in your prayer, but the fact that you sit down and you pray, your mind becomes settled and you're more present with your food. Right? And when you're more present with your food and you're not mindlessly eating, you are in touch with what your body wants. Right? You don't overeat. Right? So that's very, to me that's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
that is
interesting.
interesting.
I naturally like pray before eating, but it's only because like I feel like I'm grateful to have food.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And it probably does make me much more mindful of the things. I am very mindful of things I eat, by the way. Like I only eat fruit and vegetables. I try to eat as healthy as possible. And so that would make sense. I mean, like it does make me feel more like in touch with what I'm eating.
Yeah. One of the prayers that we say in some parts of India, they say is in Sanskrit it's called Annadata Sukhi Bhav, meaning like
Say it again.
Annadata Sukhi Bhav.
Annadata.
Anna is grain, and Data is the one who gave you the grain, and Sukhi is happy. Bhava is may that person be happy. May the person who gave you the grains be happy. So meaning like we are praying for the farmers to be happy. So it's a very interesting angle to it. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So you're praying
It
for
is.
other people's happiness
Yes.
rather than your own. And,
Yes.
and that's like one thing that I've always known about like food is the fact of everybody obviously loves food, but it's like the one thing that you can do for people that doesn't require really like obviously you need money to buy food, but it's a thing that you don't need money. You know, you can go to like those places there. I don't know if you guys know about it. They're called rainbow gatherings for a bunch of the hippies in the middle of they go to like random places in the forest and stuff, and one person will be a cook. And another person will like one person will be cooking meat, one person will be cooking vegetables, one person has fruit or whatever, and they just barter and trade with each other. So there's no money that exists in this area.
Nice.
They are all just based on bartering, and that kind of brings it back to like the whole idea of like we all need to help each other. You know, money gets in the way of that,
Communally, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But food brings us together.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and I think it's like also it's just like it's the best way to like not only introduce culture but also integrate culture, and that's why I tell people it's just like you never have anybody on a table say, I don't want to be here. I don't want to try anything. You know, mostly like even people that are picky, like if you're with your friends that they've never tried before, the first thing they would say is like, this is interesting. I've never had it before.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, what do you like, you know, if anything, they get more interested in your culture because it's something that they never had before. And I think it's really the best way to like welcome people, right? Open your home and also share your culture and share their culture with you. Right.
Well, that being said, what's some food that you've tried in different cultures that's like surprised you?
I actually love Ethiopian food because like that's the thing that I love about New York. It's like literally you can like go on Yelp or like Google Maps and like I'll be like, I want to eat Ethiopian food today. I think like Ethiopian food was really, really interesting. They're like, oh, I forgot what it is. It's like there's like a specific Asian country that like I've never heard outside like New York where they have like this specific food and I really love it. And the thing is like there's really not any food that I don't like eating. It's more like a texture for me because I didn't grow up on it. I didn't grow up on burgers. Now they're big in the Philippines, but like I didn't grow up on it. So like I didn't really grow up on popcorn. They're big now, you know, but like peanut butter
crazy.
jelly sandwich.
I wonder
like,
what made the shift.
yeah. So it's just internet. That's all there is. Because I never.
Capitalism.
Yeah, exactly. Like I never knew what Halloween was. Instead of like watching movies and stuff, because like I did follow like American culture growing up, but like it's not prevalent in my time. So like now that I see like my cousins' kids, like they go trick or treating, and it's weird because I'm like,
It is weird.
Yeah, I remember
it is
like.
weird to have kids in Philippines or India go trick or treating. I'm like, dude,
because like,
come
what
on.
is
Like,
this?
this is not your culture,
It's not.
dude.
But I think that's why like the good thing about it is just like you can say a lot about like the dangers of the internet, but like there are a lot of good things about it because like I said, it's just like it does connect you. Like so if you
It
want
brings
to
us all together.
I think so too. So
Yeah, it makes you more aware of other cultures and things like that.
For sure.
So-
We would never have been exposed to all the different cultures and knowing about what's happening in the world. I think a lot of the younger generation is very aware that America is not the greatest country in the world, and it is because of the internet.
It's not.
And see, that's the thing. It's like
How
if
dare
you
you?
told
Don't
any of the
mess
older
with me.
generations are like, no, America's the best ever. But the younger generation, we're like, no, it's not. Hold on, like we
This is a
we
country.
know about other countries, guys. Like we know that other countries have good things too.
So let's see if our opinion are still the same
Okay.
when we read this thing. Okay, so
Okay.
this is the story.
All right.
I'm a 28-year-old male. I had an average childhood. My parents provided everything, but nothing extra. When I was 17, they decided to adopt another child, Chris, 7-year-old male. I went to university at 18 and moved out. My parents told me that they could not financially help me because they have another child now. I admit I resented that. I had to work and go to college. For the first 2 years, I couldn't get into university dorms, so I had to rent, which was more expensive. I can't count how many times I hadn't eaten for 2 to 3 days. It was horrible, and I considered that the worst experience of my life. It got easier after I got into dorms, but I still couldn't afford anything extra, like going to a party or such. In all these years, I slowly distanced myself from my parents, and I don't see Chris as my brother. To this day, we see each other max 2 times a year, even though we live 20 minutes away. They don't even know I married my partner. That's big. This happened at Christmas dinner. In the middle of dinner, my parents told me that Chris is going to university in the same city as I live, and if he could stay with me, they would pay for rent and expenses. Now, I live in the townhouse in the middle of all the faculties. I'm in prime spot. I don't rent rooms, but if I would, rent will be highest in the city. I was triggered when my parents said they would pay for him, so I said that they can't afford to rent a room in my place and to look elsewhere. All family there were shocked by my response, and my parents were somewhat taken aback. Since then, a couple of family members told me I'm the AH for not helping my family. My parents texted me, reconsidered, and helped my brother, and that he's very upset his big brother won't help him. I told him he is their son, but he is not my brother, and I have no obligation towards him. Even Chris texted me and begged me to reconsider, but I just ignore him, and everyone else for that matter. The problem is my partner. He is a good, kind soul, and is starting to get to me. So what do you think?
That's a tough one. His parents didn't feed him? you said?
So his parents couldn't afford for him to go to college
Right.
because they adopted the new kid, Chris.
Right.
So he had to fend for himself while he was in college.
Right.
Now the brother or the adopted brother has grown up, they will pay for him to go to college and give him some money for the rent and expenses for the other kid to go to college. And I think like there is definitely a lot of resentment.
I think the story is not complete, right? Because from whichever perspective you look at it, you only see what you see. Right?
Yeah, because it's the perspective of him.
It's his perspective. So, for example, like the parents' financial situation might have changed. Maybe they couldn't afford when he was going to college, and now he is, right? The other thing is, when he was struggling through his whatever, finding food and finding accommodation, this is one thing that we often miss is it's the tough times that give us depth. Right?
Yeah.
It's
definitely.
like when you look back and you're like, oh, I struggled through this time, but those are also the times that made you so much more centered.
I mean, the best
so,
music comes from like the torture artists, right? Look at Miley right now.
Yeah.
I mean, her Flower song is like the biggest thing after she like broke up with her husband.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've been in the exact situation that they're talking about actually. Like,
Yeah?
Yeah. Like I was in college in Florida. I came back and I was completely broke. I moved in with my parents, and my parents are very like, you have to work every single second. You know, when the sun's up, you're working and everything like that. And I already told you guys my schedule. You know, I'll be up until 6. So
Yeah.
like for me to be up, any earlier than 10 is just crazy. So they would come in, and the first week that I was staying with them, they started yelling at me. They're like, "Get your ass up! You need to get outside and work. Pull weeds." Both of them, right? So I was like, "All right, I'm moving out." So I left that day, and I was living out in the middle of the mesa, in the middle of the desert. And there's nothing around me. You know, it was cold, middle of winter, so it was like a couple months before we are now. So it was freezing, and I went to their house and I took some of their food. I didn't ask them. I just took their food. I took water, and I went back out to the desert. And I get a call the next day from my dad. "Don't you dare take our food and our water without asking us." And they remember it differently. They were like, "No, we were just telling you to tell us before taking our food." So either way, they were telling me not to take their food, right? So I was like, I took it as don't take our food ever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be on my own. And it made me, I was going broke. I had $90 in my bank account, and I was freaking out. I was like, should I spend this money on my food? Should I save it for like gas to get to work? You know, I was like, what should I do with this $90? And I was freaking out. And luckily, my friend came in. He ended up getting EBT from one of his buddies, and he's like, "Man, I'll just give this card to you. You can go ahead and spend it as much food as you want." So I just bought a bunch of food. Luckily, after that, I got a bunch of jobs, and I was able to get an apartment. But it is the struggle that you go through that leads you to who you are really, and your strength, your ability to fight through adversity. So even though they weren't financially stable enough to give their son what he needed, they at least gave him the ability to be like, okay, I can be strong enough on my own.
Yes.
And
Like
he
independence.
and he didn't look at it as like, okay, I grew, so now I can help somebody else up. He looked at it as like, I grew, so now I'm just gonna me by myself. Nobody else is gonna get
I feel like
it.
it probably feels like there's a lot of like catered favoritism in that particular
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah,
Like,
that's it.
But I don't know if that's true, right? Because like you said, how your parents remember that incident versus how you remember is different. So I'm wondering if it's the same for this guy also.
It has to
Right?
be.
I mean, we all look at we look at situations through our lens, through our
and like our experiences.
experiences. Yeah.
They're looking
So-
at it as like him probably, they're probably like, well, you were disrespectful to us, right? He probably did something to them where they were like, oh, well, we're not going to help you because you're not working hard enough, or you're not passing your grades, or you're not doing this and that. They probably gave him a million chances that he's not mentioning, right?
But it's possible, right? It's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
know
so
like
we don't know that.
too much of like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
information, but from the storyline, like as vague as it is, what do we feel?
I think it's also. I think
The
it's
brother
also.
really had nothing to do also with it.
Yeah,
The
Yeah, I was
brother
gonna say
Yeah.
like the brother can't control
Yeah.
like what the parents do for him and didn't do for.
Yeah.
For the
And
elder
besides,
ones,
those aren't
yeah.
even his real parents. So like looking at it from his perspective, like he's like, I don't have a family,
Yeah.
So why are you gonna
Well, I think also it's just like it's really hard because like in the person's, perspective, right? Like that's not his brother.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's more of like this is like somebody that my parents adopted. Like we have no connection.
I'm sure he feels also like you guys couldn't financially support me, but you guys
Did
adopted somebody that you
else.
can financially
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
That is kind of a slap in the face. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where he's coming from, but I
Yeah.
don't know I don't know.
I
It's
feel
like
like
just
he's,
help others.
Yeah.
I would
you know?
say, well, like my perspective would be, okay, probably will not take that person into my house and rent them a room, but I would probably help them find a different place in the city. Right?
Yeah,
And
or
so,
you
Yeah.
also
like
we
there's
don't
a
know.
middle line somewhere.
We also don't know the relationship between like the two,
Brothers, yeah.
the biological son and the adopted
Okay.
son. We
Yeah.
don't
no, but
know
he
if
said it's
even-
like
No, he said
he
he doesn't
only
like
sees
them.
him twice
Oh,
a year.
Oh,
Yeah,
I do
so
know
he
that
said
now,
it's like,
actually.
even though I
Okay.
live only 25 minutes away, I only see my pet. Like I distance
Oh.
myself.
And that's
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
thing. Like they only reach out to him for something.
Something.
That seems like
Yeah.
what their relationship is. They're like,
Yeah.
hey,
That's
son.
called family, dude. That's called family, okay?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well,
how-
yeah, and the thing also is like I think what's really hard, right, is just that if I made it in college by my own, by taking loans and everything, like you're paying for his college. You already said you're paying for his college, and you were gonna give me like some kind of rent money.
Yeah.
They didn't say like they were gonna pay him a lot. They say like they will pay for some of his
Some
expenses,
portion, yeah.
right? So like I think also for him it's just like if I made it on my own and now I live in this place where now your kid wants to stay, right? If I made it on my own, how could he not make it on his own where he has more leverage than I even have? Like you didn't even pay for my
So-
college. You're not even paying for my expenses,
Here's,
right?
here's a hypothetical, okay? What if the kid who wants to rent this place where he is was not from his own family and they were not related? Would he rent it?
oh yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's the
If he
question.
had
to
no
ask.
past
Potentially.
relationship.
If there was
with him.
no past relationship, it was just like a financial transaction, would he be open for it?
But I think
Right.
that's why exactly. It's
Yeah,
just like-
maybe he just doesn't want to live with anyone in general.
So then there's the answer, right? I mean, he should hold his boundaries that, okay, I'm living with my partner in this apartment. I'm not going to rent it out. Okay.
Yeah,
That's-
Yeah.
that's
it's
just
a-
our space.
That's a fair, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I would say just like do it for a month. I would say like I will help you as a transitionary period. I'll help you for no more than 2 months or something like that.
Or yeah, like maybe just like get on your feet and
Exactly.
figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
But like as like
Yeah.
a boost.
You
or
have to be
something.
looking actively for an apartment the whole time you're with me, type thing.
No, but I don't think
Yeah,
like
those things,
yeah.
they can get
You know.
tricky, right? I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
are you really trying? Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And also, like,
Yeah,
once
'cause
his
there's
brother-
expectations.
Yeah.
It's
once
hard
his brother is
It's
already
very
in,
different.
how you really gonna kick him out? What if he
Exactly.
like barricades himself inside the room?
I feel like there's so many angles to look at it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like I think that
Yeah.
that is like really really complicated. I think it's also because like they don't have a relationship. They're not really brothers. Like for him, it's just this kid that lives with my parents.
Yeah.
I think this,
That's the thing.
I think no. I think it's not black and white, right? If it was his real brother, okay, there's one story. If it was completely unrelated, it's a different story. It's somewhere in between, and that's what is making it
Really
more
more
confusing, right?
And I think also like
Yeah,
being
for sure.
harassed by all your family, that's the most annoying thing to me. It's just like I think for me, it's just like now that I'm gonna become a mom, I'm pregnant. It's just like I'm not gonna have kids, so I have somebody take care of me when I'm old. Me and my husband has already decided we are gonna live in a senior community center where they like do a lot of those activities. Like I wanna do like everything that I can do. Exactly.
bingo.
Like I told them it's just like like we already have plans. Like we're gonna stay like 6 months in the States, like to see like our family and our grandkids, and then we're gonna spend like 6 months in Asia. Like we're gonna buy a house in the Philippines because I'm gonna get my second citizenship. Because like I don't wanna be here in the winter. I don't wanna own any sweaters ever in my life. Like once I turn 65, no sweaters and jackets for me. That's what I told them. So like I think also like this whole idea of like you're my kid, I took care of you. Like I didn't ask to be your kid. You know what I mean? Like I just happened to happen. I mean,
happened to happen.
yeah. It's more like thank you for the shelter and taking care of me and everything. But like I wasn't here, so like when you grow old and everything, like I'm supposed to take care of you. I mean, yes, like in Asian culture that is really big, and that's, I mean, my mom lives with me obviously, but like I'm not like, because people were just like, oh my God, you have like a babysitter now, right? Like you never have to worry. I'm like, no, I'm getting a babysitter. I love my mom, but I don't want my mom to like resent me.
Exactly.
My mom's 67.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like by the time my baby comes, she's 68. Like she can only do so much. She can only like, go up
Yeah.
and down and
Yeah.
kneel and all that stuff, And I don't want her to feel like her life is tied to my child. She already raised a kid. Well, she raised 4 kids. Now she got to raise the 5th kid. I just want her like
No,
as
no,
a
no.
support.
She's not going to raise the 5th kid. She's going to spoil that.
Yeah,
5th kid.
obviously,
It's like,
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
grandparent's job, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what my parents are right now,
Yeah.
spoiling them.
Yeah.
That's the
So
grandparent's
who's the a-hole in this situation?
I don't think I think it's just really, I think the thing about like like these kind of things about like Reddit. Thank you for putting the drama out there. So like
Okay.
I have drama in my life. But like it is like sometimes it is like fairly easy. But I think especially with like family dynamics, it's so complicated, right? Because there's blood into it, there's relationship ties into it, and like I said, it's just like the fact that like he doesn't see this little kid as his brother. It's just like he happens to live in his parents' house. You know, they happen to have like the same kind of parents, but they don't have the relationship. They don't talk to each other. I mean, probably the 2 times they see each other, probably like on Christmas and holidays.
I think the theme here is like if the person who wrote the story is asking, am I the a-hole? Then he's probably wanting to set boundaries that maybe are not socially acceptable in his family, but he wants to set them. And so
Yeah.
he's asking for validation from the internet, right?
I think
That's what I think.
Yeah,
going
I
on.
think he's also asking because like his partner is just like, you know, she's like he said, it's just like she's like kind-hearted and everything,
Yeah.
and he doesn't. He probably doesn't like. Well, is it a red flag? Is she gonna think like, it's a red flag? Like, you know, is she thinking like maybe I shouldn't marry this guy? You know what I mean?
She's like, oh my god, you can't help your little brother.
You know
Your
what I
little
mean?
adopted brother.
Yeah, your little adopted brother has no one else.
Yeah, like
whole different.
yeah, because like relationships
There's
do like
tons of dynamics in
Oh,
this
yeah.
situation.
I feel so
Tons.
honestly, the only person I feel bad for is the adopted brother, because I feel like he definitely
None of
did
it's his
not-
fault.
None of it's his fault at all. I mean, he literally came from obviously a family that didn't want him, and he went into a family that did want him. But then he has a brother that doesn't want him, and because of his dynamic that he has with the people that do want him, and that's so difficult because he's like the only people that like him. Now he's being persecuted because they like him, and now he's like being like held back of potential being able to get into like a dorm in his own college, you know. So like it is really tough for him. I feel like that's the only person that really is getting screwed over in this situation.
he's just gotta figure it out. Student loans, man, is what I did. So
And like baseball
There are
now.
options.
yeah,
There are
he's
options.
gotta figure stuff out.
If you were able to get adopted,
It's
you
like,
can get
I'm
into
like,
college.
you're 18 now, you're an adult, you can sign, you can get a credit card, right? So
You have options other than that particular apartment in that particular
True.
area, right?
Yeah, 100%.
For
Yeah.
sure.
well, this is pretty much the end of our show. We'll see you guys next week. If you have any businesses or you own any products and would you like to promote it on the show, please send us all the information. We will put in the information for In Hindsight for our email and our website. If you also would like to be a guest in our show, we would love for you to come. Please, we are all in social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and also YouTube. And it is In Hindsight, EINHINDSIGHT.com. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.